Welcome, transvestites from the planet transsexual, to Geek Salads, Shriek Salads, retro movie reviews from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we have an amazing special guest that I have been waiting with such great anticipation for. Nick from the Black Girls Do Stuff Too podcast. Welcome.
Woohoo!
I'm so excited to have you. I get jealous when I hear like people that I talk to a lot on Twitter, like doing podcast stuff together. I'm like, oh, I want in on that. And then with you and and your co-host Tiff doing your thirsty episode. I love it. That was awesome, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your show?
Yeah, so as already mentioned, I am from the podcast Black Girls Do Stuff Too, that we literally started because we just felt like we didn't see enough of us like at the table when it came to movies and TV and like things like comic reviews and video games. It's still a small segment, and so that's things that we enjoy, and so we just wanted to lend our voice as well and, come to it from a perspective of like, it's not just, quote unquote black movies or black TV. It's everything. Like, we like everything. Don't just call us when like Black Panther gets made. Like, talk to us about Captain America too,
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, no, and I've listened to their show. It's great because I feel like in some cases, Nick and I are kind of spiritual animals that we're both like musical theater people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, now, when was the last time you did a show?
I was actually in a show about a year ago this time.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. Just so you're aware, you did freeze up a little bit. So if you don't mind repeating yourself for me.
Yes. I said I was in a show about a year ago this time.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. What was the show?
It was a local production. It was actually through something called RLMI, like Productions. And so it was a show that actually Tiff's mom wrote.
Oh.
And so, yeah. And so I was in it as one of the like supporting leads, I guess. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Not a musical show, though. I mean, it had music in it, but I didn't get to sing in that particular one.
No. Yeah. But you did play. I know you brought this up a couple of times. You were the Wicked Witch in the Wiz.
Yep, in the Wiz. In my high school's all-white production of the Wiz.
You had an all-white production of the Wiz too. So did we.
Yeah, that was. When my school announced that they were doing the Wiz, we were shocked. We were like, "Oh, okay."
I'm legitimately not kidding. That's the same thing with us.
I mean, I appreciate it though because I think it exposed people to a lot. And actually, so Will and Kristen from So I'm Watching the Show, another podcast that we all kind of talk on Twitter. We all went to the same high school, so. Will actually designed my costume and everything. So, bringing it full circle.
Nice. I think that was one of the first episodes of yours I listened to.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, no, it was really good. But yeah, I remember hearing that. I'm like, oh, I got to listen to more of this show.
Oh, thank you. Yes, well, you guys were on my top rotation anyway, so I just put that on, like, Spotify let me know, and I mean, it wasn't really a surprise because I know what I listened to, but it was nice to see it up there,
Yeah, and it's great. Now, let me ask you a question, and this is just more for my own selfish needs. Are you on Stitcher? Because I can't find you on Stitcher.
We are. We just joined Stitcher probably now about a month ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's up there, but someone else told me too. They were listening to it on Stitcher. And I don't know how to work technology, so I'll work on it for you.
That's okay. I just literally found it here because Stitcher is my go-to.
Okay.
Like Spotify is my backup. So But the thing is, with Stitcher, I get like a full listing of things. So whenever I get a new episode, it just alerts me immediately. So now I'm alerted to new episodes of Black Girls Do
Nice.
Stuff.
Excited.
So, and there it is, kid-friendly Halloween movies that I listen to and subjected my poor son to Coraline for.
We tried to warn you that Coraline was scary, and I just watched it for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I still have never seen Coraline because I've seen enough clips to know that's gonna pretty much freak me the shit out.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't believe that's a kid movie. And then they were trying to stop me from entering things like Child's Play. Same level. One's just animated.
Yeah, my son did not sleep well for about a week, which is it's part of the course of Halloween. So it just he's just looking for that trigger, and this year it was Coraline. So
okay.
I won't live this down until
he does this
next time. So yeah, tonight we're talking about the Rocky. If you haven't seen in the thing that you clicked, we're talking tonight about the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and this came up in a conversation that Nick and I had about. Do you remember, Nick? We were talking about you were positing how Freddie Mercury would have been in the Frank N Furter role.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes.
I
still
like that.
Understand. It's like the operatics of the songs, like the potential that the songs have to go, because of course, Tim Curry wasn't doing that when he was performing, he was doing it his own way. Right. But just listening to the music and listening to the potential, and then kind of drawing from the Glee episode that was the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and hearing Amber Riley, who plays Mercedes, like the way that she sings the songs, I always just like go to Freddie Mercury, and I'm like, oh, that might have been like another great version of this character.
Yeah. I actually legitimately think now Adam Lambert, who is Freddie Mercury's Queen replacement, would knock it out of the park.
Yes, I agree. I'm obsessed with him.
I mean, Freddie Mercury could have gotten the songs absolutely 100%, but I'm just wondering about the acting, because there's a fair bit of acting for Frankenfurter as well.
Right.
Yeah, I personally don't know, but did Freddie Mercury do any movies or anything? I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure if he did anything at all, he might have made like cameo appearances where he just pretty much had to play himself. I mean, if you've ever watched a Queen video, he's very theatrical, but it doesn't really involve a lot of acting more than just a lot of like looking, lovingly at the camera. But I truly think Adam Lambert would just destroy this, because as a fan of Queen and as a fan of rock music, I love the fact that Adam Lambert got the memo. Don't do your own thing. Just do Freddie. Just do your own Freddie. And it works so well with him.
Yeah, his voice. I remember when Adam auditioned for American Idol, and he was just so awesome. And I watched that season. He was great. And then he actually played on Glee. I'll bring up Glee again because that is my favorite show. And so he was actually on there, as a singer as well. And his voice is just awesome. So sometimes I wonder, is he just trying to stay in the wheelhouse of Freddie, or is Freddie just that person that he listened to growing up, where he was like, oh, this is how I get my range. Like, if I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. I honestly think that Adam Lambert would have thrived tenfold as a solo artist in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
I really do. He had that kind of voice.
He could have been a solo artist or the front man of a band, because he just has that look and that style anyway. So if you could pick him up and drop him, it's into his own Aerosmith, that'd be fantastic.
Well, there are also a lot of movie musicals that were done around the time of Rocky Horror too, where it could have just been a made up band, but he could have been that lead singer. I don't know if you're familiar with Phantom of the Paradise.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. So Phantom of the
real.
Paradise is the 1974 Brian De Palma movie with this guy whose face and voice are crushed in a record pressing accident. And he's a songwriter, and Paul Williams is this immortal demon that stole his songs, and it's so campy. And
Okay.
it's so very much like a pre-disco 1970s kind of like operatic rock story.
Okay. Okay.
It's one of those guilty pleasures that is just like you have to watch it because you can't believe what you're watching.
Oh, this sounds right up my alley, and I'm like literally planning on watching it this weekend.
Plus, my 1970s crush Jessica Harper is in it. So,
Okay.
who also Jessica Harper appeared in the unknown sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Shock Treatment.
Yes.
Shock Treatment. Oh, there's a sequel?
Unofficial.
Okay. Unofficial. Okay.
Yeah, it's music written by Richard O'Brien. Brad and Janet are still characters in it, but it pretty much takes place in a TV studio.
Okay.
What I'll do is we're at 11 minutes. I'm gonna put a link up here in the corner. Not so much for Shock Treatment, but for one of my personal YouTube favorites, Diva and Musical Hell. She actually covered Shock Treatment.
Okay.
As well as Phantom. Those up there. Just right up here. So you can click after you watch this video. So all right, we've done the niceties now. And I'm gonna start with you, Nick, because you are our guest. When was the first time you saw the Rocky Horror Picture?
I was thinking about that today. I don't know when the first time I know I had seen like clips of it here and there, but I don't know when I first watched it. But I remember when it first came like really to the forefront of my mind was around when I saw it on Glee. So when Glee was out, I was early 20s, so it was like right in my jam. And I know they did an episode like season 3 of that show. And after I heard it there and listened to the music, like I knew Time Warp, but I didn't really know all the other songs. And then hearing it on Glee, I was like, okay, I need to reference the source material. And so that was probably around like 2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
That I first like remember like fully watching Rocky Horror. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now have you been to it live?
Yes, I went for the first time last year in Toronto.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's good. Mike, question goes to you. First time watching Rocky Horror?
Probably when I was in college, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to Nick, I heard, Time Warp, and I think I might have also heard like Damn It, Janet and Sweet Transvestite. But I'd only seen like images of, Tim Curry as Frankenfurter. And so I was in college. I was like, you know what? I want to check out some of these movies that are supposedly classics that I've never seen. So I think I rented it from the college library and I watched it, and yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you haven't seen it live though, Mike, right?
No.
Okay. I have not seen it live either. I have zero excuse for not having seen it live. The first time I actually saw it in its entirety was when it was released on VHS in 1990. I remember when it came out too, because it's like this movie is not to be viewed on home screens. It needs to be viewed in the theater with the gang of people and everybody shouting at the screen, Proto and Mystery Science Theater. And so, unfortunately, I've never had the theatrical experience of watching it. But college, oh boy, do we watch this movie a lot. I was familiar with the soundtrack before I'd seen the movie. A friend of mine in junior high played it for me, and I had no idea what I was listening to. And then, when I got a little older, my music tastes matured, and just I got out and I got to see the world a little more. It made more sense.
Yeah. He says his music tastes matured. I've got other words for that, but We won't go into that right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
fine.
You know
Fine.
exactly
You
what
get
I'm
yours
talking
when we
about,
do our
all right?
your episode, Mike. You'll get yours, sir. Oh boy, this is the beauty of doing a podcast with one of your best friends. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna get you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tiff and I, that's my cousin. So.
Oh, I didn't know that
Yeah.
you guys were actually related. I thought you were just
So
like
you're
besties.
So okay, so we are what you call black cousins. We're not blood related, but we've grown up together. Our
Yeah.
families are close, like they know each other, everything. So as far as we're concerned, we're cousins. So
Okay.
we've known each other literally forever, and that's all day. Like I have to edit out most of our back and forth.
Awesome. So let's get to the matter at hand here. The story of it's a story about two young lovers, Brad and Janet, who are now correct me if I'm wrong, they're leaving a wedding.
Yes.
They're leaving somebody else.
Yeah, someone else's wedding is like right the opening scene after the lips.
And then he proposes right after everyone's left.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're driving, their car breaks down, and there's a spooky castle with a light on over at the Frankenstein place.
Yes.
And it just the second they open the doors, it's not hyperbole to say that all hell breaks loose.
No, it's not. That's accurate.
It's not really hell, but it's just very bizarre. Yes.
In like the best way, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They walk into just weirdness envisioned.
It's so funny because really, even before they walk in, just the way that they're greeted at the door is where it starts. Like most people would turn around at that point and be like, you know what, never mind. But they don't. So
yeah, riffraff is not exactly the best doorman.
The songwriter, Richard O'Brien.
Yep.
Played riffraff. And it's
wait. The songwriter was riffraff?
Mm-hmm.
Played riffraff, wrote the music.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I always thought that he was also the director, but he wasn't. Jim Sheridan is the director, and Jim Sheridan and Richard O'Brien did a lot of stuff together, and they have a very distinctive look to their movies. In fact, I did an obscure reference to them when my wife and I are watching Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Okay.
Because they're just in chorus numbers that it's just like this one shot that they just have set up of everybody in the background singing directly to the camera, and then they just cut back. So my wife looked at me and asked me what was wrong with me, and that's why it works. So So let's get into some of the songs leading up to our introduction of Frank N Furter. You both mentioned Time Warp. We're all familiar with Time Warp. The hit.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's like a party starter, kind of, like.
Yeah.
It seems like it wouldn't be, but if you bust that out at a party, everybody does it. Like everyone knows it. So.
Well, the beauty is too how to do with the dance are in the lyrics. So, like someone like myself can dance to the Time Warp. I can do the YMCA because they're literally telling me how to do it.
I still can't because I can't dance worth a lick.
Oh, okay. Well, that's.
Oh, you know what? Half the battle is just believing in what you're doing.
Right.
If you believe it, it's good dancing.
Just make sure that every day you dance like nobody. You're sure that nobody is watching. Like literally nobody is watching.
If I dance, everybody would be watching and running.
The song itself too. Well, first of all, I think it's the only song that works outside of the context of the musical. Would you both agree?
Yeah. It's a very it can be used as a standalone song, whereas all the rest of them are pretty kind of rock opera-ish.
Yeah, it's the only song that doesn't move the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then I'm sorry.
sorry, I was gonna say we went to Time Warp, but are you going backwards? Are you going backwards from there?
No, we can go if you want to go forward or backwards. You know, people who watch our channel know there's no structure to any of this.
Well, no, I was only asking because my favorite song, well, I would say in my top 3 from the soundtrack, my favorite is the opening song. Science fiction double feature. Yeah, like that's my favorite. And so, like, you know, it opens to me. That's what got me in, because like just a pair of lips that are singing and it's kind of telling you everything. But the melody is so nice that like you're just like, this is weird, but like it sounds really good, so I'm in. You know.
Well, the overall tone of the song isn't like everything else in the entire show. Now, I actually learned a really interesting piece of trivia about that. The woman who played Magenta loved that song so much she wanted to sing it, but Richard O'Brien said, "I'm sorry, I've already sung that song, but if you want to kind of sing it, we'll film you with the lips."
Okay.
So it's Riff Raff singing a song that Magenta is.
Oh my goodness! Really?
So those are Magenta's lips and Riff Raff's voice. Wow!
I don't know if you guys heard the scream. We all just went looped. So stupid Wi-Fi. Yeah. So it was like I never knew that on all the posters, the opening credits, that's Magenta's mouth.
Okay. So I figured it was the only reason I guessed. I never knew this trivia, but I just guessed it was because Santana played Magenta in Glee, and then she sang the opening song. Okay. So I thought that's why they did it, was because it was in the show. But they probably knew some trivia that I didn't know. I just made assumptions because my first exposure is always Glee, even though they didn't really do the whole thing.
I was literally today years old when I found it out, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I do love the song. I love that it comes back at the end too. It's a nice little bookend. Damn it, Janet. Any thoughts on that song? I'm actually just pulling up the Spotify list right now. So
yeah. I just think that song is so cute. Like it, and when you listen to it, like I listened to it today, like in the movie, and it's, I don't know. Some people in the movie are very strong, and some people aren't. And it's, for that particular song, I don't think people are very strong, like as far as the singing in it, like through that particular song. But it's fun, and it just like brings you in because it's telling a story, you know, the whole time. So I really like it. I just think it's a cute song.
Yeah, Barry Bostwick doesn't have the best voice of all three of them, of all the cast members, but yeah, he's not offensive with his singing.
No, not at all.
What's interesting about Barry Bostwick is prior to this, the only thing I knew him from was Megaforce.
Was he in anything else?
Yeah. Did you ever watch the show Spin City with Michael J. Fox?
No.
Okay.
I remember it, but I didn't watch it.
He was primarily a TV actor. And the only reason why I remember Megaforce is because when I was 10 years old, on the back of one of my comic books was this ad for this movie that just, to my 10-year-old eyes, looked like the most badass action film ever. I mean, there are dudes with like rocket jet skis and cars that could fly and all that. And there's Barry Bostwick with full beard and this little skinny headband and a big coif of 80s hair in his skin-tight jumpsuit pointing. Action,
you were in.
Not words.
You were sold.
I was sold.
And then he saw the movie.
1982. I didn't see it in the theater.
I gotta tell you, that is a good story. Now we know how to get you into a film.
That's right. This is all I do is tell these stories. But yeah, now I don't know if either of you guys noticed about how this music is kind of like you talked about theme earlier and how like science fiction double feature doesn't sound like anything else. Because everything else in this show sounds like the 1950s by way of the 1970s.
I would agree. Yeah.
Like Grease.
Yeah.
I think Grease had a specific 50s sound that isn't 50s at all, but everybody kind of accepts as being 50s. And I feel like this movie, that's pretty much the largesse of the soundtrack, is that type of like 70s doo-wop.
But I also think that was intentional, because I mean the whole thing has a very much
it was very much a part of
50s
Richard O'Brien
sci-fi.
Yeah, absolutely. But Richard O'Brien this is like his wheelhouse. This is pretty much every song. Like if you talk about the 1980, I think it was 80 or 81 that Shock Treatment came out, the music sounds very similar to that.
Okay.
And he done a few others which are not as well regarded, but the second you see the choreography, you know it's a Richard O'Brien joint. So a lot of heavy makeup, a lot of very tall, statuesque women with very like, sharp features doing sharp motions.
Yeah. No, okay. So if you say that, and then like I only have one movie to reference, but you saying all of that is definitely the aesthetic of
that is
horror,
him.
so.
That is him.
Yeah. Okay.
So and we lost Mike for a second. He's probably gonna let the dog out or something. So time warp, sweet transvestite. Let's get into Sir Tim. Tim.
It was the cat.
Oh, it was the cat. Okay, my cat's staring at me with a death glare right now. So if you hear a bell, it's her.
Okay, I don't have pets, so it's just me.
Yeah, no, she'll just murder me on camera, you know, and then she'll figure out a way to shut the laptop. So it just like that's just the coda we need.
Just like shuts it slowly while she's staring it down to let you know, like don't report this.
Exactly, which is odd because I use a separate camera. So, what are your thoughts on Tim Curry as Dr. Frank N Furter from Transsexual Transylvania?
To be honest, like he is Frankenfurter. So even with my with my Freddie Mercury like remark, it's kind of like I love recasting things. So like anything that I see, I always think of, oh, if this was then or if this was at this point, how would it be, right? Like I did a whole thread on why Chris Evans should play Indiana Jones, right? Like if that was to come out, like I could see him as Indiana Jones, and like I have the receipts to prove it, right? So that was that comment, but like for what it is, I don't think that there's anybody else really that I would see playing that role, you know? Like he is that, and I don't know if this would have become much of a cult classic as it has without him playing Frankenfurter, because he really just like adds that personality and that character and that flair. So I don't know. I can't even imagine. I'm like going through my Rolodex of like actors from that time, and I can't even like fill it in with anybody else.
What I find interesting about Tim Curry is that, I agree with you wholeheartedly. He owns this role. Nobody else can play this role in my eyes. But when I see him in other movies, I don't see Frank N Furter, which I think is a testament to how good of an actor he really is. Like, if you watch Clue, I don't see Frank.
He really is one of those actors. Like I feel like when he plays a role, he is that role, but you don't bring that old role into the new role because he plays each one so well, you know? There may be some nuances or some like little things, and I think that's just Tim Curry rather than, if he plays this character, he's going to do this particular thing because he does it in every single role. He's not one of those actors. He really is like one of those people who takes a role and it's just that he encompasses it and he makes it that character and doesn't necessarily bring that into someone else that he plays, you know?
Yeah. He's an absolute chameleon.
Can we say what a treasure he is as well? I mean, I've seen Tim Curry in a number of different roles. I've seen him in a number of different roles, and I've never seen him give less than 100%, whether it's dressing in like stockings and corset, or being like the emblem of all evil, or being Long John Silver with the Muppets. He never gives less than 100% of his, and that is he is just an amazing actor.
Mm-hmm.
He's also
I
a lot
agree.
leggier than I kind of pictured him being.
He knows how to walk those pumps.
Got some gams, legs up to here, man.
He did. I was looking at it. I actually watched it right before I got on the call with you guys because I love Rocky Horror so much. I was like, I'm just gonna watch it again. And every time I watch it, we'll get there to this point, but like in the like closing act, I look at everybody else like in their get up and in their outfit. I'm like, Tim Curry is just rocking it. Like he just looks good. Like he just looks better than everybody else who puts on a similar outfit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. He's just so good in this. He really is. And it's one of those things. I feel bad saying that. It's like one of those things that he's always kind of like when you hear a celebrity dies, like, oh God, please don't let it be him. I know he's in ill health, and it's just like there's so many.
It's a sad day for any like film lover, especially like a Rocky Horror, like lover or anything that he's done. Honestly,
yeah, and it's very interesting too because I think that character has become like an unintentional gay icon, and in the in the mid 70s, that is just some.
Well,
that he became that iconic very early on. I know it took like a couple of years before the midnight showings started happening, but like in college, every one of my gay friends adored him and just felt that he gave them voice. And we're talking the early 90s, and I went to school down south. So
that's saying a lot.
Oh, so much to unpack there. But he's just, he's so good, and he stays in character the entire time. I love that he doesn't go full on Dracula, but you can tell that there's wisps of it in his singing.
Yes, like I like that. I also like how you say he stayed in character. Because I knew we would really be dissecting. I was like really just watching him, and there are moments where he's not speaking. Either sometimes he's being spoken to, but sometimes he's just there as the conversation's happening or as the scene is happening, and he's acting the entire time. Like the whole time he's doing exactly what we're told to do. Like if you can be seen, you are on, and he just does it, and he does it so well, and to where it's like it's almost scene stealing because he's not trying to, but you're just watching him the entire time,
Yeah. It was funny too because when I went back and I listened to this entire soundtrack, now I essentially had to piece the most recent viewing of this together with YouTube clips because I couldn't find this. I couldn't find a copy of this that I could watch like readily available. So everything from my conversation today is cobbled together. I've seen this movie enough that I can probably recite it. But when I was listening to the soundtrack the other morning, I was making breakfast and I'm just listening to it. I'm like, in this day and age, he would just come across sounding like an old queen. Just like one of those old, like 70-year-old gay guys that just shows up at parties like, whatever happened to Fay Wray? You remember Fay Wray from King Kong? Remember her? And he's just so good. And it's another thing too about this, and it's not overt. There's a lot going on there, and none of it is just absolute like, oh look, scenery. He's so good.
It's so good. It's like I just look at it like it became a cult classic, and I get it and I understand it. And sometimes you watch it and I'm like, if you watch it out of context, so you don't have the emotional connection, you might even look at it and be like, what is happening? Like, what's going on? But everything that's there that is like on the set or a part of their outfits or whatever is also intentional that it just pulls everything together,
Yeah.
I mean,
I dare somebody. Go ahead, Mike.
This is a very, very weird, bizarre movie.
Yes.
No holds bars about it. But it could have gone off the rails so very, very easily and just his performance, as bizarre and out there as it is the pillar that this whole movie kind of revolves around. If he didn't work, and if he didn't play this, like if he played it for laughs, or if he played it like too little too subtle, the whole movie would not have worked as well as it does, or not work as well as it does.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Now I dare somebody though to make a cut of this movie where all the music is removed. This movie would not work without the songs. There are a lot of musicals that you could say that about. This is definitely one of them. Because there isn't an opera. There are scenes of dialogue. There are reasonably lengthy scenes of dialogue throughout this. And it's like, oh, please come do it. Another song. Another song.
Yeah, I feel like that about most of and like there's a certain point that I always get to in this in viewing this, to where I feel like I forget that this like the rest of the movie happens, like the end of the movie happens, and I'm like, wait, what? How did we get here? And I think it's because it's like so much of no music that I just kind of like, it leaves my mind, and so it's new every single time.
It's just the glass comes over your eyes, just like, oh, song.
Yep, exactly.
And it's funny too, because the rose-colored glasses song towards the end of the movie, it's like it's 8 minutes of music, and then you're like, wow, this song didn't seem that long. Is it 5 different songs all in one?
Right.
It switches. It's like November Rain. It just switches from like one tempo to another tune to another tempo and then another chorus.
Yeah, because you saying 8 minutes long, I didn't even think about that.
I
didn't even think about that.
Songs I feel like going on too long just to see how much longer I have, and it's an annoying habit I have. It really is.
I feel like I only do that when I'm performing a song. And I want it to be over. I'm like, why am I still singing? Like,
my throat is dry and almost done. I'm having that problem right now with the show I'm doing. I haven't sung on stage in 9. Okay, well, you need to hold this note, which is higher than my range can handle, for 9 measures. Can you do that? Sure.
Why not?
Sure, I'll do that.
So
you want that in character, right?
Oh yeah.
So you got the role
then,
because I remember you were going to audition for it.
I got in.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I will be the Santa Claus in Christmas Story.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I'm yeah, and it's great too. And it's her first show, so I got to start her off the right way with me doing it with her and looking over her shoulder and saying, "Who are these people?"
Nice. That is so nice. Congratulations. Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you. So some of these, okay, so by the way, the song I was talking about, that 8-minute song, is Rose Tint My World.
Yes.
So
yeah, that is. I'm like, that part, that's probably the part of the movie that I forget. I mean, I know the song is long and I don't know the name of it, but then I think about it and I don't think I know the name of any of the songs that aren't like the big ones.
Yeah.
You sing along with them, but I don't know what the names of them are.
Is that the one? Is that the one that they play when they're all being unfrozen or unmedusaed?
Yes, I.
Yeah.
Don't
because
be it, see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. It's weird, kind of up to that point. I was like, this is a weird movie, but I can kind of follow it. As soon as that point hits, I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is happening anymore.
I got nothing.
Yeah,
I'm having a riffraff. We're going back to the planet transsexual now.
Sure. Why not?
Right, like everything starts to happen, and you're just like, oh, okay.
They killed Columbia.
So I know, like
That's what I feel the worst about in this movie. Columbia.
Yeah, like very random.
Everything bad happens to Columbia throughout the whole movie. First, like her boyfriend gets killed. Her,
Right.
her crush has nothing to do with her, and then she gets killed.
Right.
Yeah.
You
She
know,
also
has
had.
nothing left.
She also, and maybe this is just me as a hetero male noticing this. I think she had an unintentional nip slip that happened like halfway through the movie, and nobody corrected her about it. Because I did notice her corset just kind of like
Falling.
just kind of resting there,
Well, I do know.
Well, if we just leave it, because everybody else's nipples were showing too, so if we just leave it, it kind of like blends in. You know what I mean?
Except for Sarandon, who was nobody at the time, and she still refused to do touch me naked.
I definitely did notice Columbia had a nip slip during the pool orgy. I definitely noticed a nip slip on Columbia.
And it just kind of stayed there throughout the rest of the movie. What are your thoughts on Meatloaf as Eddie?
So I actually really like his entrance, and I like that song as well. Part of the reason I love that song is because I have to refer back to Glee, because John Stamos did it. And so that's the first time that I heard it. It was John Stamos who sang it. Then when I went and watched Rocky Horror and I saw it was Meatloaf, I loved it even more because, funny side story, when we were little, we were kids, that Meatloaf song, I Would Do Anything for Love.
But I won't do that.
So that song, me and my brother and my sister loved that song. Like, we were kids and we used to sing that song like we really knew what the words were about. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, it's the guy from that song. Which, I mean, Meatloaf is so much more than that. But for me, I was like, it's the guy from our favorite song.
So,
riding a motorcycle around the around the lab.
Yeah, the way he like busts in and singing, and then the way he just goes, it's kind of sad.
I had known Meatloaf from Bat Out of Hell, like his first big album, and that song is nothing but like car crash love songs, and they sound exactly like everything Eddie sings in this. Seriously, if you go back and if you actually go on Spotify, listen to Bat Out of Hell, a lot of like just like that doo-wop, and it's very like it's like a lot of swing and jive in all of his songs, even though they're all they're all like that. Going down the list here, is there any other? Well, touch me. So to give Citizen Sarandon something to sing, I got to admit, she actually's got when she was, I think she was 30. She might have been just shy of 30 when this movie came out. She had a good voice when she was younger.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard her sing since.
I've seen her in music videos.
The only music video I saw her in was Mother Lover from The Lonely Island.
That's what I'm talking about. And she did make a cameo appearance in Three Way.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, she did.
But she was also in Enchanted. Did she have a song in Enchanted?
That's actually still one of my Disney blind spots.
No, I'm thinking of all the music in Enchanted. I don't think she sang in there at all.
They didn't give a one song in Enchanted.
Is she not the voice of the Witch and Tangle? Is that not her voice?
No. That's Donna Murphy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I haven't heard her sing anything either.
Okay. No, Donna Murphy actually was a Broadway, or is still alive. She is a Broadway singer. But yeah, that's weird because I really kind of figured that, and I've seen Enchanted. I have no excuse for not knowing this. That the evil queen didn't get a villain song because it's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
They don't always have villain songs.
But the best ones do.
The best ones do, because Scar's song is top notch.
I love Scar's
song
song.
in Lion King.
Even though there's no true like main antagonist in Moana, I love Shining. I love Tamatoa's song.
I mean, it's really hard to watch any Disney movie and not love every song. I mean, if we're being honest. But yeah, that song touched me.
The scene though, when we're going back, I like it too. It's very, very catchy. I love in the movie though when she's seeing like all these other people, like on top of her, and some of the faces, like Brad's face, is just quizzical and confused as to what's going on.
Yeah, he's like, creature of the night. So yeah.
And then Columbia's just like, creature of the night.
Yeah, I love that song because I like how it starts and then where it ends up. It's like such a juxtaposition. I just love that so much. Like, that's the one thing I love about musicals in general that I really like about this being a musical movie, is that they kept some of those elements and the things that you love in musicals. It's just like, a song shouldn't just be a song for a song's sake. It should take you somewhere, and it does that, She changes in the song, and I love that.
And I said that earlier. I mentioned that earlier. The majority of the songs in this movie, they move the plot along.
Yeah,
which is great. Outside of Time Warp, everything is just like, okay, we were at point A when the song began. Now the plot of the movie is at point B. Till we move to the next song, we can move that forward again. I'm going home. The whole thing where Frank is dying, and Riff and Magenta are going to head back to transsexual, and that way. So, hey, and we're back from technical issues. Woo! Yeah, we all get spun. Maybe that's just on my end.
Oh.
Pay attention, Mike.
Okay.
I mean, all in all, this is just, it really is a fun movie. It's a fun, this is the kind of movie I enjoyed, especially in college, just like sitting around with a bunch of friends, just getting drunk and singing along to it.
Yes.
And I don't feel that there are a lot of movie musicals that anybody from any walk of life would feel like comfortable singing everything there, unless you're with a group of theater people. I mean, there are other movie musicals that you could watch, and this movie does have something for everybody. It really does.
Yeah, like the only other thing I can think of that I've been to live where people were literally in the aisles and singing and dancing, other than this, is Mamma Mia.
Yes.
So like those two really are the only ones that I've ever experienced personally where people just sing and they dance. And what I love about this one is people actually dress up to go and watch it, no matter if it's Halloween or not. Like when I went, I was like channeling Frank N Furter, but I was in Canada and it was really cold, so I couldn't wear the outfit that I brought. I was like, no, I'm sorry guys, I can't do this. But channeling, and that was before I cut my hair and colored it blonde, so it was big and curly, so it was like perfect. And it was just like walking in and everybody is like in a costume from the movie, like everyone.
Yeah.
And I just love that. I love it so much.
It very much is a communal thing, and I don't know of a lot of places that do it anymore. I don't think, like, for us, the closest city is Boston. I don't think Boston is doing it anymore. I think though, like, our local movie theater might do it at Halloween.
Okay, yeah, in DC they do it. They have a place where it gets shown pretty regularly.
Yeah, and I'm kicking myself. I lived in Northern Virginia, like right on the metro line, for 2 years, and I never went to go do it.
Come on, you're right there.
I know it was a very different time for me. So there's a lot of stuff that when I went back to visit DC about 10, 15 years ago, I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why didn't I do that? I've
You
never
should
been
just
to
write
the
a
Kennedy
musical
Center.
about your time in DC.
Yeah, I know it. I put a lot of my effort into just working, and I was a very dull person back then. I'm kicking myself. I never went to the Kennedy Center just to go look around until my wife and I went to the Sondheim thing back in like 2002, and I'm like, this theater is beautiful. This building, beautiful. Do yourself a favor, Nick. You don't go there. Go there more often. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful theater. They always have good shows. They just had Aladdin there, which I had the opportunity to see on Broadway, but then they brought it here to DC.
Oh, nice.
So
I went to
nice.
see in Boston last year. So,
Which one?
Aladdin.
You went and saw it?
I had won tickets actually, and so my wife and I went to go see it, and I enjoyed it a lot. It's always so funny good. Too when you read the cast bios, and you always look to see what because the genie is really 90% of what makes that musical fun.
100. Or sorry, I shouldn't say 100% because there's other people in it, but honestly, yes.
Yeah, all right. I think I'm not being generous enough at 90%, but looking to see what else they have done, I think every single one of them has done Book of Mormon.
Yes.
And I think they've all been the maggots guy. Our guy was the original maggots guy.
Oh, that's cool. That's really
cool. Which is great because we have that soundtrack. I do love the Book of Mormon too. But yeah, no, Rocky Horror is just it's a cultural milestone that I really hope stays. I don't hear like my younger coworkers get excited about that.
Yeah, I know I have some people in my office too who I've told about like the midnight show and about going myself. And I think, when I first tell them about it, they're like, what? You went to why? But then once I start telling them about the experience and dressing up and everything, I have a whole new group of people that I've influenced who are like, no, when are we doing this? I think I'm doing my job to continue the legacy of Rocky Horror because it should never die. We can't let it die. Like, we can't. Like, it's such a good show. And I just think that, like, especially like now, for a lot of people, it's a lot more open and a lot more accepting. I mean, granted, the 70s were a crazy time.
Yeah.
But, like now, it's a lot more open and things. And so people can feel even more comfortable going dressed as their favorite character or finding somebody to identify with. And even other people who aren't as exposed to see this on camera and see how much of a cult following that this got and to continue to expand their minds. I love what this movie represents and that it is its own like weird whatever it is because like I said, the third act, I really don't know what happened at that. I feel like maybe like when they were writing the first and second act, they were like maybe just smoking and then somewhere along the line they got like shrooms and then the third act came about. It was like, oh,
sounds about right.
Right.
We've been really patient, guys. We've been saving up. I bought us an 8-ball. Now let's get them back to their home planet.
Exactly. It just like went completely like another direction at that point. But that is part of what makes it, right? It's like even that weirdness is like why people love the movie.
It is, yeah. I agree. And definitely you love this one. I implore you, watch the videos. I'll personally send you the links for the musical Hells for the other two we talked about earlier because you're gonna watch that and go, the fuck?
Right. No, I need to be that way. So please send me everything that you have because I love it.
I am a wealth of awful things to distribute to good people. So it's what I put on this earth to do. So
he's like shaking his head and agreeing with Mike.
Mike's known me for 12 years. He's seen me at my absolute worst.
He's like,
actually, I have not because you won't tell me about those years of your life.
Oh yeah, no, my 20s. We don't talk about my 20s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not nearly as exciting as it sounds. It was just a bad time, man.
Okay, so when I come up to Boston, if we get you guys out, then I'm gonna have to like pry.
Yeah, yeah. And, ply me with a few, and maybe I'll spill.
Oh, is that a pet?
That is a
my
cat.
kitty.
Mike actually grew a tail, so
No,
yeah.
oh my gosh.
And my cat's just cat.
I was gonna say, in addition to the links that you're gonna post, because I've referred to it so many times, if you guys have never watched Glee, I mean that's your own problem and you need to get with it. But you can at least watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show episode of Glee, because I think they do a really good job of honoring the movie while keeping keeping the glee-ness of it, right? But they pull in all the best parts from the movie into the show. It's a good gateway into Rocky Horror.
Okay. I gave up Glee, I think the season before. It was honestly it was like totally me, not them. But I do remember the Les Miserables episode where Neil Patrick Harris was
yes.
was his nemesis, and he got cast as Jean Valjean, and the professor whose name I can never remember.
Will Schuster.
Shu was cast as like townsperson 5, and it's like there are no other men in Les Miserables.
Right.
You've got the 2 best singers, and nobody is playing Javert apparently.
Right. No, I love that episode. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah, like my wife is a BA in acting, so we both kind of like watch that. Like, okay, we're gonna pause this right now and discuss our feelings,
right?
Because we both love Les Miserables, and it's.
Well, that's really funny, and I'm glad that you had someone to discuss it with, because I am literally the only musical lover in my life. So, like, my family recently revealed to me that they don't like musicals, and they only watched me in musicals because I'm related to them.
Oh, so, man.
They never would have gone otherwise. And I was like, really, guys? Really? So, yeah.
I can definitely say my dad does that, which is nice that he supports local theater when myself is in it. Now he's got to go to see Christmas Story because his granddaughter's in it too. But yeah, no, it's interesting because like with us, my wife and I met doing musical theater, so we have that in common. We met
it gets even better. He played Linus, she played Sally.
Oh my gosh, that is like the best thing ever.
It is it's adorable. Like it really is. There's so much Peanut stuff in this house too because of it.
That's so cute.
We have each other to
do you guys like randomly bust into song in the house?
Yeah, but it's usually
every day. There isn't a musical reference drop at some point. And I always feel a kinship. I always feel a kinship with people when I mention something and they pick up right on it. Like we're doing a rehearsal for a number in the show, and I was like, "I'm not dead yet," and my choreographer like, "He is not dead yet," and I just picked up a He can dance and he can sing, and she's like, "You know Squad." I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Oh, that's awesome though.
No, but and just before we wrap up, you mentioned about musicals that really get people out of their seats. Nick, you need to see 6.
Okay,
6 is the 6 Wives of Henry VIII as a girl group.
Oh,
it's kicking.
Oh, that sounds good. And I just like if you have, I don't know if you've listened to an episode where I mentioned I'm not that good at history, right? Like I'm really terrible at history actually. But I know who Henry VIII is because I'm good at TV and I watched Tudors recently. And so now I know all about him and his life, so I will get all of those references that they make because I know things now.
In my attempt to send you all the awesome things, I'll send you the Spotify link for the 6 soundtrack.
Oh yes, even musicals I've never seen, I listen to the soundtrack. Like I've never seen The Waitress, but I listen to the soundtrack all the time, and I'm convinced in my life I will get a chance to play that role. Like I have to, even if it's just in my living room, I'm gonna do it. So.
There you go. That's perfect. So, Nick, I can't thank you enough. This has been so much fun, and I'm so glad you could join us.
Yes.
We honestly would love to have you back at some point. We'll find a movie that you'd like to talk about. These are our regular weekly things that we do, and definitely around Christmas time we're gonna have we gotta come up with some Christmas movies, Mike.
We've done Gremlins, right?
Yeah, we did.
Did you Die Hard?
We have not done Die Hard.
Ooh.
You want in on
Just
Die Hard?
saying.
All right.
Die Hard or The Nightmare Before Christmas, as we argued.
We've done Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, as a Halloween movie or as a Christmas movie? Because it's.
I think we did it as a Halloween movie last year.
Probably, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Last year we did The Ref. We did Long Kiss Goodnight. We did Gremlins. And there's one other Christmas movie in there, and I don't remember what it is.
I don't think we did Long Kiss Goodnight because I don't think I've ever seen Long Kiss Goodnight.
No, we did, actually. I don't remember how that happened, but we definitely.
Okay.
So.
Because I still have never seen the movie.
Well, I personally want to say thank you for having me. This was awesome. This is my first like crossover video.
Yeah.
And then also like it's my first time getting to talk and pour out my love for musicals with people who also love musicals. So
Yay!
Yay! I'd clap, but I got a
one.
kitty in my arms.
Yeah. It is
a great one to cover.
It's been an absolute thrill having you on here. You want to plug your show one more time? Where can we listen to you?
Yes, absolutely. So again, we are Black Girls Do Stuff Too. You can listen to us directly on our website at blackgirlsdostuff2.com, and we're available on just about every pod listening app. We're on Podcatcher, which is like awesome right now, like Podchaser, Stitcher, Transistor, Spotify, Apple Music, TuneIn, Google Play. And all of it is under Black Girls Do Stuff Too. And then if you want to connect directly with us, you can hit us on our socials. And on Twitter, we are BLK Girls Do Stuff. And Instagram is Black Girls Do Stuff Too.
Awesome. I tend to have at least one conversation a day with her. So you can actually link right to my Twitter feed, which is at Geek Salad Radio. Look, because if you don't see at Verbal Diorama, you'll see at Black Girls Do Stuff Too. So, I swear to God,
anyone could have.
Yeah, I know. It's just like I love my hashtag Podern family because everybody is so amazingly supportive, and I just love not only being a part of a group or being in this group, but also being. I care about everybody's success. I want everybody to be awesome and do a great job. And went out again. I just love watching everybody just get excited and all of us just kind of succeeding, which is awesome. And you know, Mike and I have been doing this show for 11 years, and it's like this is the year that all of a sudden we found family. So
yeah, definitely.
You guys are.
And I just want to say thank you once again to you guys because we're so new and everybody has been like so kind to us, especially people who've been around forever to give us advice. I'm always asking tech questions because I'm always messing something up, and people are there to help me and again to support us and just be there for us. And we love you guys, so thank you so much for having me on. And hopefully next time it could be me and Tiffany. And then Andy and Mike, and then we'll just have two sets of friends who are completely off topic and talking about each other the whole time. So.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Right.
There isn't a single show that doesn't completely go off the rails to just talk about other stuff. So
exactly.
Host a podcast called Geek Salad. You can check us out. Wherever Tiff is. Nick is. Sorry, I mentioned your co-host, not you, and you're the one here. We are available on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Music. We are also at geeksalad.podbean.com. Our full archive, except for the bad stuff, is available on the Podbean app and at the website. We are at Geek Salad Radio on Twitter and Geek Salad Podcast on Facebook. So, and we just recorded our Halloween TV episode. Working on getting you
Yes.
Oh, it was so sad because usually she literally sent me the message 20 minutes after I hit the end button on the record. So,
Oh,
I know. I was so sad because I had sent it earlier and I was like, no, what? I told you technology and me. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. We have our record scratch moments where I will insert stuff in and apologize for,
nice.
Oh, hey, sorry guys, got to bring up the flow of the show, but so
we do it in a fun way though.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Good.
anyway,
Yeah,
again,
scratch, put it in.
again, Nick, thank you so much. And
thank you guys.
I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later.